on. Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address. It is week 10. I'm Lawrence Pressman. I'm the pilot, the conductor, the host of this show, and I'm excited to have you all with us, man. We almost had 10,000 views last week on the NFL Presidential Address, and I'm thankful for every one of you guys for tuning in, for putting comments down, for hitting the like button. It's greatly appreciated. This show is very important to me, and I promise you that this is going to be the best NFL presidential address so far this year. I have done a ton of homework. I was up all night researching plays. So I've got a full slate of action for you. If you've never watched the NFL presidential address, here's how it goes down. I'm going to look at every single game on the board. I'm going to give you my thoughts and a side and or total. If there's a game that I hate, I will pass. Last week was terrible. I went 3-6 for my clients. It was my first real bad week of the entire NFL season. My show leans, and like if you listen to the whole show last week, I went 4-1, so I didn't do terribly on the show, but my clients didn't do well, and I lost my last 3 prop bets, which is abnormal, as those have been gold. Anyway, after I go down the entire board top to bottom, Meghan Payton will be joining us. She's got some prop bets for you guys, and after that, we will get into my 3 show best bets. Well, let's get into it, guys. Thursday night, Atlanta -3 against Carolina. I'm going to be in action on this play, so I've got nothing for you. Plus, this show has gone up on Fridays the last 2 weeks, so it was pointless to do the Thursday night show anyway, but I am hoping that we'll get the show up earlier this week. Okay, let's get into the Sunday slate. First, we have a game in Munich, Germany. Seattle +2.5 at the time of writing. It's now +3 against Tampa Bay with a total of 44.5. And, well, Tampa Bay's offense, it's a total mess. I think their coach is to blame, to be honest with you. I just don't understand the play calling at all. That could be a general theme of the show, because I don't understand the play calling of a lot of these coaches. With that said, this team is not executing either. 6 dropped passes last game. Wide receivers running wrong routes. Their penalties. This team is just completely out of sync. And on the other hand, conversely, Seattle, they just keep on winning. I'm going to make this one short. Seattle is the 4th highest scoring team in the league, averaging 27 points per game. And they are throwing deep. They're throwing off play action passes. They're moving the ball fast. They've got no issue scoring. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, they've got a good D, but their offense is looking terrible. However, I think their offense does get going. I think Tampa Bay will win the division when all's said and done. And I think we're going to see their offense perform better this Sunday, especially considering they're playing a bottom 10 defense. I know Seattle's D has played better of late, but that was against the Giants, an injured Chargers team, and Arizona twice. I like over the total of 44.5 in this game. Next up, we got Jacksonville going into Kansas City. Jacksonville is +9.5. The total of this game has been bet up to 50.5. Well, last time Kansas City put up 20 points. The next game, they put up 44. The time before that, they put up 17 against Indy. The next game, they came back and put up 41 against Tampa Bay. I would not want to face this team after a bad offensive performance, and that's exactly what Jacksonville has to do. With that said, I don't love Kansas City at this number. Jacksonville has played everyone real tight and have not been beaten by more than 7 points all year. This team is a tough out, man. They're playing hard. They're playing good. And they're keeping games super close. I have to pass here on the side because although the right side is Jacksonville, Kansas City played so bad last game. And if you go back and you look at the games after they play bad, they could easily win this game 45 to 20. Kansas City has allowed 23.6 points per game. Middle of the pack defense, but over 30 points a game in scoring. Jacksonville, from a defensive perspective, has played great this season. However, and we're going to hear this a lot, those numbers are phony. Their defense is not nearly as good as their numbers suggest. They have played Denver, the New York Giants, Indianapolis twice, Houston, Washington. These are the lowest scoring teams in all of football. Kansas City sits at the top of the league in offense, and they're going to pour it on against Jacksonville. The only way this game stays under is if Jacksonville can slow it down, focus on running the ball, and they could, except the problem is Kansas City is going to score. And at some point, Jacksonville is going to need to throw the ball and get back into this game. What do I like? I like over the total of 50.5. Now we turn our attention to Houston against the New York Giants. It came out at Houston plus 6.5. It's now down to 5. The total was 40.5. It's now up to 41. Let's just get this to the bottom line. What is Houston's biggest problem? Well, a lot, but their biggest problem is their run defense. Their run defense, not only the worst in the league, they're vying for potentially the worst in history. This run D is allowing an average of 180 yards on the ground per game. Just think about that. That's close to 200 rush yards allowed per game. And now they face Barkley. The Giants are number 5 in rushing. This game is going to be a game of running the ball. The Giants have the 9th worst run D in football. And one thing you can say about Houston, for however bad they are, Pierce is their number 1 bright spot, and this offense is going to go through him. Neither team completes deep passes. Both teams are conservative. Neither team scores a ton. Houston averages 16.6 points per game. The Giants, 20 points per game. I cannot take the Giants here. It's too big a number for this team. I cannot take Houston. They're really bad. I would not be shocked if we see a 20-10 type football game. Take under the total in the Houston-New York Giants game. Now we look at New Orleans minus 2.5 versus Pittsburgh. First off, fuck New Orleans. Fuck the Saints. Damn stinking Saints. We played the Saints on Monday night, and this team kicks ass 1 week. They played incredible against Vegas, and then they honestly forgot that there was a game on Monday night. Dennis Allen is a disaster of a coach. For the record, how do you start the Viking over Jameis Winston? How do you throw the ball to Kamara 3 times? 3 times in a game that you're behind in. He's literally your only weapon. This is one of the most inconsistent teams in the league, and as a result, they've become impossible to bet on or against. How do you bet Pittsburgh here? You can't. What are we going to do in this game? The right side is the Saints, but I prefer the under. We're going with under the total of 41.5. Okay, Detroit against Chicago. Detroit plus 3. The total in this game is 48.5. And, well, I know the Bears are finally scoring. They've still lost 2 in a row in 5 of their last 6. They still suck, but they're finally scoring. How can I take a team who sucks as bad as the Bears when they're laying a field goal? This team has not gotten over 200 yards in the air all year. Think about that. That is crazy. As for Detroit, this is the best 2-6 team in the league. They've had major injuries. They had big injuries against New England and Dallas. And outside of those 2 games, this team has kept every single game close and honestly could easily be 4-4 on the year. Which team do I think is better? Well, I'll take Goff over Fields. I'll take St. Brown over Mooney. I'll take Swift over Montgomery. And frankly, Both defenses are, well, I wouldn't say equally bad. Detroit's is worse, but both are pretty shitty. You look at Detroit, worst defense in all of football, 29.2 points allowed per game. Chicago, though, 24 points allowed per game. But that is a phony stat as well because teams don't have to score a ton to beat the Bears. I mean, Seattle had to put up 48 to beat Detroit's 45. Minnie had to put up 28 to beat Detroit's 24. Philly had to put up 38 to beat Detroit's 25. Sometimes all the team has to do is put up 12 to beat the Bears. So take the points allowed with a grain of salt. And on top of that, Chicago's the third worst run D in football. So how do we bet this game? Well, the only way to play this for me is Detroit +3 and over the total. Yes, an over in the Bears game. Bottom line is Detroit can't stop anyone. And now they are healthier. They should be able to put up 24 to 31 points against the Bears. And the Bears in their last 3 games have scored 32, 29, and 33 against a tough New England D. So long as Fields runs, this team can get going. When he throws, hell no. I'm taking the over and Detroit at +3. Okay, guys, let's turn our attention to Minnesota and Buffalo. We had Minnesota at +6. They're now down to 4. It's probably because of the Josh Allen news that I don't actually know about yet. 46 is the total. It is now down to 44. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat, this is a terrible spot for Minnesota and as good a spot for Buffalo as you will ever get if Josh Allen is playing. As of now, we're taping the show. I still do not have word on whether Josh Allen is playing or not. This is an official pass. However, if Josh Allen plays, I absolutely love Buffalo. Okay, Denver, they're going into Tennessee +3. Total been bet down to 38.5 from 39. Watching the Kansas City game, the Titans deserve better. I thought they were going to get a W in that game. What I love about the Titans from a betting perspective is this is the most defined team in all of football. What do? They run the ball. Do you guys realize that 2 games ago, Tennessee did not throw the ball one single time in the second half? That is unheard of in this day and age, but that's exactly who they are. Let's not overthink this play. Denver has a monster defense, even without Bradley Chubb. This team is allowing teams to score an average of 16.5 points per game. Tennessee's D, really good. They've allowed 19.8 points per game. Both these teams are in the top 11 in points allowed. Denver is the second best team in points allowed in the league. Guys, Denver is 1-7 to the under. And listen to this. Here are the total game scores, the combined scores of every game Denver has played this year. Keep in mind, the total of this game is 38.5. So Denver has put up a 38, a 25. Not Denver's put up. Combined score, 38, 25, 35, 17, 55, 21, 25, and 33. Every single game but one went under the number of 38.5. As for the Titans, they are 2-6 to the under. Their total combined scores are as follows: 37, 27, 29, 38. Those are their last 5 games. 4 games, all of them under 38.5. Before that, they were to the over: 41, 46, 48, 41. There's only one way to go in this game. I'm taking the under 38.5 in Denver and Tennessee. As for Indianapolis and Vegas, to hell with both those stinking teams. I'm passing on this game. Now we move to Arizona and the Rams. Let me get this out there. Kingsbury is a really bad coach. This team is not disciplined. They had 11 penalties last game, including back-to-back full starts. They were at home. When was the last time a home team had back-to-back full starts? I don't know, but it was a long time ago. This team fumbled 3 times, including Murray just dropping the ball randomly by himself while in the red zone or close to. It's hard to make an argument on Arizona. It's tough to make an argument on the Rams. This Rams team is a total mess as well. However, this is a really low total, 43.5. Now, I understand this is a reaction to how bad the Rams offense is. Like Tampa Bay, the Rams offense is going to get better as the season goes on. I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking over all the way. We like over the total of 43.5 in Arizona and LA. Now we get to Dallas and Green Bay, and I think this might be one of my favorite pieces of analysis in this segment. Also, before we go into that, stay with us, guys. We got Meghan Payton coming up right after I go through all the games, and she's got some prop bets for you. And then after that, I got my show best bets. Okay, the right pick here is Green Bay, but there is no chance this guy is playing that crappy team. If you have been following me for a while, you know my opinion on Rodgers right now. This Pack team is god-awful on every side of the ball. And now Aaron Jones might be out. He's questionable, which means he's likely out. He's literally their only player. This Green Bay team has allowed 21 points per game. That sounds great. Awesome performance by their defense. Phony number again. You got to understand, nobody is putting up junk yards against Green Bay this year. It's not like Green Bay is up by, 20 points with halfway through the fourth quarter, and the other team just starts hurling the ball. They get into prevent, and all of a sudden you have 150 free yards. Green Bay hasn't played prevent defense this entire year. So take that 21 points with a grain of salt. It's not hard to beat Green Bay when you can score just 21 points. This Dallas team, their offense, Green Bay, 6th worst in football. They are averaging 17 points a game. To give you perspective, that's a hair under what Kansas City does in a half. Dallas is a monster to me. Frankly, guys, and I mean this seriously, I would bet Dallas to go to the Super Bowl. People are talking about Philly, mini San Fran. This is the team. The only thing that Dallas can't do well is stop the run. And now Aaron Jones is out, so who cares? Green Bay's O-line is horrible. Micah is going to have a field day. Rodgers might end up crying when all's said and done. With all that said, why do I think Green Bay is going to win this game? It's the bloody Aaron Rodgers factor. The psychology of not believing what we are seeing. We keep saying to ourselves, there's still time for Green Bay to turn it all around. It's Green Bay. It's Aaron Rodgers. For God's sake, they were like 13-3 or 4 last year. They can't be this bad. It's not possible. Fuck that. We're taking Dallas -5. Now we go to LA Chargers versus San Fran. I don't understand this line. I am baffled by this line. The LA Chargers are +7. The total in this game been bet down to 45.5. Let's focus on the side. The Rams suck. We know that. Carolina sucks. We know that. What does that have to do with this game? Guys, those are the only 2 teams San Fran has beat in their last 6 games. The LA Rams and Carolina. What is going on with this line? This San Fran team lost to Denver and Atlanta 3 weeks ago. Did I say they lost to Denver? Yes, they did. Oh, wait. They got Christian McCaffrey. So that should make them a touchdown better than the Chargers. The Chargers have a 5-3 record. They're doing it without 3 of their biggest stars in the lineup. The Chargers have won 4 of their last 5 games. They basically live on the road, so that won't be a factor. And Herbert is incredible. Guys, I'm serious when I say this. There is an it factor with incredible. What made Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, Josh Allen, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Pat Mahomes. What makes these guys great? The ability to will a team to win when the team isn't playing well. Herbert is that exact guy. Jimmy G is not. Side note, Vivian, my woman, she thinks this might be the handsomest QB matchup in history. Okay, we'll move on from that. It's not like the Chargers are a surprise team here, guys. They were a contender right at the start, just like San Fran. God, I wish Bosa and Allen were playing in this game. There is something in the back of my mind. I got to tell you, it worries me. I keep asking myself, is San Fran better than their record? Are they about to go on a big run? They have a good team. They have a great, the best defense in all of football. Run defense. Their run defense is insane, but that shouldn't factor in. The Chargers don't run the ball. So we go back to not understanding this line. Perhaps there are many smarter people than me that think the Niners should be a touchdown favorite against the Chargers. The Chargers' biggest weakness, and maybe the reason for this line, is stopping the run. And with McCaffrey now, we know San Fran is going to exploit the crap out of this. But I'll take my chances with Herbert. I think he'll answer every time. I'm taking the Chargers +7. As for Monday night, I haven't even looked at this game. My apologies, guys. That's it, top to bottom. It's time for Meghan Payton. Meghan, welcome to the NFL Presidential Address.
Thank you very much, Prez. Let's talk player props. I've got some great stuff for NFL Week 10. We're going to start with running back Christian McCaffrey. I'm taking over 100 rushing and receiving yards for McCaffrey. It's Wednesday. The lines aren't out yet, but I like anywhere 100 or lower. Look, McCaffrey has been a fantastic addition already for this San Francisco offense. He had 149 combined yards in Week 8 against the Rams, 62 combined yards like 3 days after being traded. I like McCaffrey to exceed this 100 number, given the fact that this number is probably going to be even lower than 100, with wide receiver Deebo Samuel returning, with potentially running back Elijah Mitchell returning. I think we'll see a drop off on McCaffrey's number. Look, McCaffrey's going to be going up against a Chargers defense that's allowing the third most rushing yards per game. They're just average in pass defense. That's why I'm going to take the combined yards of 100 or lower for Christian McCaffrey against the Chargers. Next bet I have is anytime touchdown for tight end Travis Kelce. Can you believe it's been 3 straight games without a Kelce touchdown? For how productive Kelce has been for this Chiefs offense, that's honestly shocking. He's averaging 104 receiving yards the past 3 games. And look, last time I bet anytime touchdown for Travis Kelce, he had 4. He's going up against a Jags defense that's just average in red zone defense. I like Kelce to be very active early on. The total's at 50.5. Expect a lot of touchdowns and expect Kelce to be one of them. Let's stick with Chiefs because I like the over 24.5 first half total against the Jags. Both of these teams are offensive powered. The Chiefs right now are first in points per game. The Jags know they've got to come out early if they want to stand a chance against Kansas City. Jags came back from a 17-point deficit against the Raiders last week. They know that's not possible with the Chiefs. Expect 24.5 to hit over early on against Chiefs versus Jags. That's what I've got for you for NFL Week 10.
Thank you, Meghan Payton. Awesome having you here. Such an outstanding job. Let's get into our show best bets, everybody. I just want to say I got a big card lined up for you guys for Week 10 in the NFL. I hated last week's card. I told you that. I told all my clients that, and it showed because I ended up going 3-6. I love this card this week. Make sure to grab my plays. It's going to be a big bounce back week for the Prez. Yes, and I speak in third person sometimes. Okay, show best bets. Seattle and Tampa Bay over the total of 44.5. New Orleans and Pittsburgh under the total of 41.5. And Arizona and the Rams over the total of 43. That's it for the show. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the channel, subscribe, like the show, subscribe to the channel, and comment on the show as well. I read all those comments. I will respond to a bunch. We'll see you all next week. Namaste.